All right, welcome to Vibe Osmosis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for joining. And go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Johann Rashid, aka Promiseland. I live in New York City, and I make music. I produce music. I sing and I dance. I do it all.
You just put out a really cool record, Sad But Happy.
That is
How long
correct.
have you been working on this?
Saba Happy. I fuck. Some of the songs are really old, but then they kind of found new. They kind of found a new life when I guess I signed with Cult Records in 2017, and I had some old demos that I bought to Julian, and some of those became like newer versions of themselves. And Julian, we worked on them. He helped me like write and produce them a little further. Some of the songs are like newer and only made in like the last kind of like couple of years. So it's kind of like a mixed bag of stuff, but definitely like took some time. I guess in 2017, I signed with Cult Records, started touring with the Voids, and I had put out Take Down the House in My Shadow. And then a little later on, I did Personal Reflector, and we kind of, when we were working on the album, we sort of decided to to kind of round it all out, and Jules thought that those tracks from the previous release sort of deserved to fit into the kind of album Sad But Happy. So yeah, it was a bit of back and forth, and I worked with a couple of really cool producers over the years, and worked in my studio here, which I've now moved into my living room, and because I do video also, and so
Yeah.
trying to do video in like this room over here, which is dedicated now for video, and then out here is all like music shit, because it's like my head is about to explode 24 hours a day, so but yeah, no, so the album came out, Sad But Happy, and yeah, I am sad but happy, I suppose.
What does the name Promiseland mean to you?
I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question. I guess, I'm from Australia originally. I've been in New York now for 11 years, I think, almost 11 years. And I don't know, I've played in so many different bands over the years in Australia. I used to play in a band called East Link, where I was like a psych rock band. We put out a couple of records in the Red Records in LA. Very different music, but at that time when I was doing East Link, I was kind of doing another project, Home Travel, and I was like sort of doing more solo performance stuff. And I think originally it was like The Promised Land. I don't know, like it sounded like a cool name to me. I don't know. and then I dropped and then I was like Promised Land, and then it was like two words, and then I think I was in New York, and when I was starting to do shows, but I wasn't totally like anything. I don't know. I was kind of just had that as the name, and then when I got into the studio with Julian, I was like, yeah, I guess Promised Land, right? Like one word. He's like, yeah, it sounds like it sounds like a kind of like a cool, crazy like theme park.
Yeah,
So,
I can see that.
yes. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. That's what I'll be. I'll be Promised Land. And it's funny because it's like a very funny name for like if I'm on tour or something, people will call me and like Promised Land, and it's funny when they refer to your name as that. Like
Yeah.
I suppose is my first name Promise. I don't know. It's like really, but it is funny when people are like Promised Land. I like hearing it. It's cool. So yeah, it's like a crazy theme park of of a name.
Do you
It's also funny because it's like some people think it's like I get thrown into the algorithm of like religious stuff, and that's funny also because there's like on if you go like on Spotify or iTunes, there's like Promiseland, Jump for Joy, and all these like funny things. But then it's like then you have like Take Down the House and like A Total
yeah.
Return to the Same, and all these like very like subverted versions of religious songs. So yeah.
What inspired you to do like your own music videos?
Mm, I've always made film. I studied. I did a fine art degree, majoring in experimental film and cinema, and I guess experimental sound also.
Yeah.
Um, and so I always thought of like sound and vision as the one thing. So people always ask me like, "Oh, what do you want? Like, if you had one choice, would you do like video or would you do music?" And and I'm like, I can't answer that because for me, it's like the same thing. It's like slightly like different mediums, but for me, it's like it's the one like like art practice
Yeah.
and so fuck, what was the question? I can't even remember what I was going back to.
Would you consider yourself a spiritual person, even though that Promised Land kind of has that in there whenever you look it up?
I would say I'm a spiritual person for sure. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory working on the album?
Favorite memory. Fuck. Uh, yeah, like wanting to hold a gun to my head and blow my brains out all the time. No, favorite memory. Oh man, fuck. There's so much crazy shit with this album. Like, I worked with this amazing friend of mine in Australia, um, Paul Harmon, which was an amazing producer, and we kind of like started making a bunch of shit together years ago, and then as I moved to the States, um, like we went back and forth on stuff a lot, and then Jules made so many changes, and then we bought like sessions over here, and then I started working on stuff in my studio here, and then it got to the point where like Jules and I would like set up like I'd set up a little studio like in a casino hotel, and we'd be like recording and like writing little guitar riffs and melodies and stuff like that. So like yeah, it's hard to think of like one like highlighted cool bit, but the I guess the like back and forth of experience of it all has been like pretty amazing. But yeah, definitely like writing crazy melodies at like 4 in the morning in a casino hotel in Atlantic City was fucking amazing. Also, Jules and I, when we did 3D Flower, that was like a session we did in LA with this producer called Sean Everett, and like that song was another song that we took like one part of the bridge of the song and we repeated it. We're like, this should be the song, and then we like were up to like sunrise, just like on the microphone, like just kind of like singing and talking and recording for like hours and hours and hours and hours, and then then it became 3D Flower. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah.
So like what inspired that music video? Was it actually used with AI?
Oh yeah, actually, no, it wasn't AI. Now I remember your question before. What inspired you to do the music videos? I did all of my music videos except for Bad Days, which my friend
Yeah.
Pierre Capellecchia like worked on, just because all this year I've been like touring with the Strokes and Voids and doing like a lot of stuff. So I didn't really have a lot of time to, and I didn't know what to do. So I trusted my friend to come in and do that video. So we shot it in LA, which was like a lot of fun. 3D Flower, I slowly made over the last couple of years because I've been sitting on the song, and I always wanted to do like a crazy, weird, like animated video of like me and Julian kind of like on a crazy ass adventure through whatever. And so, I was like using these like animators in India, and I would like give them like crazy like ideas and prompts. I'm like, okay, so like Jules and I for this scene are gonna go to like a weird party. There's gonna be people dancing. There's gonna be a DJ there, and it's a weird house party. And I just let them interpret it. And then when they sent me back like the scene, it was like we fucking pulled up to like a haunted house, and then we're like go into the haunted house with like people playing mini golf and shit. It's like very random and very funny. But
Yeah.
actually, in 2018, I was supporting the Voids on a European tour, and I think the Voids were doing a BBC recording, and then out the front, Jules and I were kicking it, and we were standing in front of very cool motorbikes, and hence where that original picture came from. So everything kind of just evolved from that picture, to be honest. And then it turned into what it is now, which is the artwork of 3D Flower.
Now, you seem like a really big movie guy. What movies have you seen lately?
What movies have I seen? What have I seen? Because I haven't really had time to watch movies. You know what? I've been playing fucking the new Alan Wake 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on PlayStation 5. Actually, like,
Yeah.
I actually I had to buy a PlayStation 5 to play this game, but Alan Wake 2, like an incredible narrative storyline. The first, it's been like 13 years since the first game. I don't know if whatever. Anyway, I've been playing that. It's amazing. Film wise, fuck, what have I watched? Oh, I watched I do watch a lot of like on the airplane. I have to watch a lot of films. I suppose I watched the Phantom Thread, the Paul Thomas Anderson film, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's such an intense film for the airplane because it's like so. I got so involved in the film that I like kind of forgot I was on the plane, and then afterwards I felt so like weird, just like I was having like an existential crisis on the airplane. And airplanes are good for like horror as well. What about like I watched The Ring. I rewatched The Ring the other day on the airplane, and it was like a good, I don't know. It was cool, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I need to. I'm trying to take this month like chilling a little more, so some little more video gaming and a little more movies back in my life.
Now, I have caught you play out in Seattle, opening up for the Strokes, before COVID happened. It was like right before the shutdown. One of the most, it was like an amazing show.
Thank you.
But I was wondering, did you kind of notice the shift between like COVID and like doing shows before COVID? Because you kind of were everywhere for a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny that I remember like the COVID thing because we played in Canada. We flew to Seattle, and they were like, "Oh, like everything may be shut down," and I was like, "Really? That's kind of like crazy." And then the show was going to get cancelled.
Yeah.
We still had the show, and then it was like the next day, literally flying back to New York, and then it was just like in my apartment for however long. Yeah, I mean it was. You know what? It was a good time because I actually like got a lot of like recording done in that time. And I also started like another project. I work with like a bunch of really cool musicians here in New York, and one of my great best friends, collaborator, a guy called Jai Gonzalez, who plays live with me a lot when I get to play with the band. but we sort of started this other project called Masmora Brillante with this Mexican singer Daniela Valdez, which we just opened up for Boy Harsher in Guadalajara in Mexico.
Yeah, yeah.
It was amazing because like Masmora Brillante was like a lot of demos that were kind of Promiseland songs. And they're songs that I'd worked on with Jai in the studio here in New York, like over the 10 years that I've been here. And so COVID was kind of amazing because, well, COVID wasn't amazing, but that time I got to kind of like separate out some of the like folders of just music and stuff that
Right.
I have on my computer. And yeah, kind of like separated stuff. It was like, oh, this is good for this person, this is cool for that. And like, yeah, so I got a lot done, but I did miss performing live, and it has been nice. So this year's, like, my body is fucking wrecked. Like, so sore, and I just had some acupuncture and chiropractic work done. Like, I'm still sore, but like, yeah, the Strokes tour this year in Asia was fucking amazing. And the bigger the show, the less I hurt myself. So it's good because it's like it's a different kind of presence for a bigger stage. But it's the like the smaller shows, like the smaller club shows that I used to do here in New York. Like I'm like fucking they wrecked my body. Like I had like yeah like dude I'm fucking broken things.
Now to bring up that's a really good part. Personal reflector, you know, in that song, you have like a lot of really cool messages, but also boys don't cry, you know, and girls don't cry. What kind of inspired that?
Yeah, the personal reflector is like a contradiction because it's like the first half of the song is like I never meant to hurt you,
yeah,
to make you cry, and then the second part is like I always meant to hurt you and I always meant to make you cry. So it's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I suppose. It's like both being the same, and then the boys don't cry, girls don't cry. I don't cry because I guess, you know, that part of the song, I suppose, I don't know, you know, like, I didn't cry for like, I didn't cry for like fucking years and years and years, and I kind of got stuck on like, the fact that I hadn't like released any like emotions from oneself, and so I thought it was like a funny, like I always like to have humor in my songs. And so I thought like it was a funny fact to like kind of put that in, that like I kind of got to this point where I was like, fuck, I don't remember like crying ever over the last like 15 years. And so that was like the boys don't cry, girls don't cry, like toughen up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like let's just fucking move on. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I always meant to make you cry. So I guess in the end, we all are gonna cry.
Where did you guys film that at?
The video?
Yeah.
Yeah, here in New York, in my apartment here. So I live in like a big loft. I don't know if you can see.
I'm familiar with the loft style.
Yeah. Loft, and so like I have a fucking my piano over there, fucking drum kit in the other room. I have like 3 rooms here, but I shot the scene with the girls here, and then just at the subway, I live like close to the G train here in New York, and so like there's a really cool like stop here at Bedford Nostrand, and so yeah, it was like we shot at like 3 a.m. Like we shot here in the apartment, then we walked out and we're just like shooting in the subway and just like but then there's like other parts. Oh, because it's a really meta video. That's right. Fuck, I almost forgot because they're watching the fucking TV.
Yeah.
They're watching me and a gang steal videos from video store.
A lot of videos.
DVDs. Yeah, DVDs. Like that's right. Fuck. Oh man, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, it like it's kind of like an ode to like you know, I grew up like my favorite place to go was like the video store or the DVD store, and now there's like none left. And so you know, that video was supposed to be like a meta kind of weird thing where they're watching a movie, but they're in the movie. You know, it's like this whole thing going on, and I just wanted to like, you know, I wanted to rob DVDs from a DVD store.
All right, so with Take Down the House, you know, it's featured on Grand Theft Auto Online. For people that don't know your music and haven't heard you, how would you describe like, you know, your music? And also how would you describe like Take Down the House because it's like a hit on the record?
Um, Good question. I don't know, like, yeah. You know, yeah. Promiseland. That's a fucking hard one. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. No, I do know. No, I do know. No, I don't know. No, look, like I grew up playing like a lot in like a lot of punk bands. Bass guitar was my first instrument.
Okay.
And then I played guitar for ages. Like you know, I just always wanted to like play punk music. And then when I was like 17, I started working in a 24-hour nightclub as a barback. I lied about my age. And I was still in high school, and I needed a job because I moved out of home when I was pretty young, and I was like, I'm only gonna listen to like punk, Ramones, Sex Pistols, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then when I was working in the nightclub, it was like all electronic music, and I was like, fuck, like this is the shit that I hate, right? But then I was like, over the years, I was like, fuck, it's pretty good. I don't know. And then over time, like I started like, you know, like different DJs that worked in the nightclub.
Right.
This is a nightclub called Revolver upstairs in Melbourne, and it opened from Friday till Monday morning. And I used to do these crazy ass shifts, but all of the DJs in there would start giving me like cool mixtapes and things like that, so I could like start like listening to, you know, different various artists. And I kind of like got really into like, I don't know, like German industrial music and like Arab and Severed Heads and Front 242.
All right. Yeah.
And I kind of like then decided like with the solo stuff that like I wanted to like incorporate more like electronic kind of industrial.
I see.
Which then, you know, like you know, like Take Down the House is kind of like the like that's kind of like as industrial as you get on the record, apart from
maybe Sustainable Health.
Yeah, Sustainable Health, that's the song.
For sure.
But apart from that one, but also and you know, like a lot of the demos I had like I had a lot more heavier stuff, but then slowly like going through some of the original like home demos that I was doing in my studio, Julian kind of like came through and like inspired me to like be more of like to sing more.
Okay.
Like songs like Bad Days, which I originally did with my friend Bojada, but we kind of like had a very hard chorus in that song originally, which is now the bridge of Bad Days, which is the end.
Nice. I see. You had a little switch up.
Yeah, so that was the original chorus, and then Jules came in and said, "No, like you let's like you should sing. You're a singer." And I was like, I was like, "Am I?" And he's like, "Yeah. What are you talking about? The demos that you're showing me are awesome." And so he kind of like helped me open up as an artist and as Promiseland, and I was more like, I guess, confident to kind of like go back to these original demos and the way that I would like record them and sing them, and not always like because it's always easy for me to go to shows and just fucking scream on the microphone. I'm so used to that. And that's what the live show is very much like, aggressive and yelling, and I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. But it was so cool for the album to like bring it back a little bit and bring back in more of that kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like post-punky kind of like I don't know. But I have yeah, it's cool. It's a cool balance. I feel like the record's a cool balance of both. And I have more, I've some like more tracks which I'm like been working on over the last couple of weeks that like for like new releases for
Okay.
next stuff. And some of them are like more take down the housey, and then some are more like singing. It's cool. Like it's a good, yeah. I don't know. It's like both.
Here's I'll throw in some two funny questions though. But how much unreleased music would you say that you have just by bringing that up?
Oh shit. Fucking lots. A lot of unreleased music. Dude, I have like, yeah, fuck, dude. I have like behind here. I have like, I'm just looking at three boxes full of 300 records,
All right.
like Promiseland stuff that I've pressed to vinyl already, but like
All
it
right.
4 tracks no one's ever heard. But I pressed these vinyls like a fucking while ago, and so I was concentrating on the album to get that out first, and then yeah, there's that, and then there's like folders of stuff, and yeah, there's like I have so much, but it's
Wait,
cool.
so what do you like to record on? Is it like Ableton, FL, Cubase, or
Reaper. I'm a Reaper guy.
okay, yeah. I mean, not it gets the job done and it has a lot to offer. All right, so here's the fun
Reaper is
question.
the best because Reaper is it just as good as Pro Tools? It's
Yes,
better
it
than Pro
is.
Tools, but it's free and you don't have to pay for it. Anybody can fucking download it,
Yeah.
Reaper, and like you just have to wait for the 5 second countdown. But I also make like and I use this for live performance, but this is really good for writing, like the Electron, like they do. I mean, this is the I need to upgrade to the number two, but this is
Okay.
the Electron Octatrack, and it's like a really amazing sequencer, and it's great for live performance, but also like writing on this thing is so much fun. Like the Electron shit's fucking cool. I have like a bunch of like the analog keys and stuff, and they're like just really cool for like jamming out ideas and shit. But Reaper is Reaper for fucking tracking for sure.
Yeah, for getting it done. So the fun questions are the first one is if you could time travel, would you go forwards or backwards? And what era?
Fuck. Ooh. Time traveling. If you were to go backwards, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Going forwards, we don't know what we're gonna get. So I'll probably go forward because then it would be like you go forward and this is like an empty desert. It's like oh shit, everything's fucking been wiped out.
Yeah. All right. So to get back to the music for one of them, the eternal return to same.
Total return of the same.
What inspired that?
That song was originally called Sad But Happy. Eternal Return of the Same was the original demo, was Sad But Happy. And it was 2 songs. The melody was the key line was a demo that I had recorded just at home. And then the lyrics were originally in a different song. And Julian, when he listened to my demos, said, you should put these lyrics into this song. And so I kind of like joined those two together. But that's like maybe like my favorite song on the record, that and Consultation. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean it's definitely a lonely song. It's pretty intense. It has some, like. Yeah, it's a hard one to explain because it's also another contradiction because it's like, let's not forget about suicide. Let's not forget about
Right.
suicide. Let's forget about it. Let's forget about it. You know, it was kind of like interesting to me, like how meta it is. How I found it so interesting in like the Facebook era. Well, I mean, it's still Facebook's going, but I don't use it anymore. But in the time when I was using Facebook, and when it first came out, I found it so fascinating that that it became so public when people would like died or had like committed suicide or something, that they would like write. I had like, you know, friends that had like written um like notes as like a post, like, okay, goodbye, see, you know, thing, just very like, I found it very strange that that was like the new kind of like memorial of like people that had passed, and that people were then like commenting every year like on the post of the person that had passed. And I thought it was so like fascinating that Facebook had kind of become like the new a new tombstone for like friends and family that had like passed. And I thought it was just like so like uh too like vulgar and out there for like
Right.
for my kind of like, yeah, I just found it like fascinating. And so that song kind of like it touches on that sort of like I guess like it touches on that. um there's a lot of other aspects in that song, but the main thing was like, I found it so interesting that like the internet nowadays is like this like tombstone for like everybody. It's weird.
Yeah, that's a
It's
really
like
good point.
it's like everybody still like exists on. It's like, yeah, it's funny. It's like it's like, yeah. Anyway, um,
It's the same thing. I feel like even for artists or people, whenever they're gone, like the last little bit is what's out there now. And to some extent, the internet is kind of permanent and not permanent as far as like what they can take off and what they leave on. Which I think is really, really something for the people that have lost somebody, and like what they leave behind is like music or like their videos or their vlogs or their Facebook posts in some extent, because I've definitely have
yeah,
seen,
and it's funny because like, you know, like back in the day it'd be like, oh, like you know, I can pull out this old like VHS tape, and it would be like of like, you know, my dad like, you know, like doing something, and it was like, oh, like if I wanted to go back for that memory, I can kind of like
Yeah,
refer to this like tangible thing or like a photograph or something. And then there was this like middle area where like, yeah, the internet came and Facebook, and it was like sort of this new version of memorializing somebody or people, you know, like all this thing. And then kind of like where it's heading now is kind of crazy, because I feel like with like AI and stuff, like it's like, oh, well, you'll be able to kind of like catalog this person's voice, and then
yeah.
maybe you'll still be able to like like versions of them still kind of like keep you happy or talk to you, or,
Right.
you know, it's like interesting to see where it's gonna go. It's yeah, it's definitely very interesting. So yeah, Eternal Return of the Same, the name then became that because it's sort of this like cycle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny question I'll bring up. If you were stranded on an island, but you could only take one thing with you, what would you bring?
Stranded on an island.
It could be a fantasy island though. Could have whatever you want on it.
Like, like yeah, so it's not just like a bad, it's just like not an abandoned island. It could be like,
Right, yeah, it could be not abandoned, like you're not fucked.
yeah, you're just not fucked. You're just like, it's like a self-sustained like hippie village in the like in the like blue zone with like beautiful like healthy food and everything like that. If I had that, I don't know what I would take if I was stranded. Like no one's gonna fucking listen to my fucking music because I'm so gone out there. I don't know. What would I take? I don't know. Uh, Maybe I wouldn't take anything. I don't know. Maybe if it's already got everything, then I don't need to take anything.
Yeah. Here's a good one. This one's kind of also on the same spectrum of the last topic. But what would your ultimate last meal be?
Ultimate last meal. Ooh. Hmm. I feel like I talked about this with somebody the other day, and I can't remember what I can't remember what we were saying.
It's like a three full course like deal, like all day meal.
Definitely has to have rice in there. I'm like, I love, like I'm a rice guy. Rice is life. Like half Malay, so I grew up
Mm.
eating rice. Like rice. I, I don't know, man. There's like a Malaysian dish, nasi lemak, and it's like rice in a banana leaf with like the little boiled egg and like either like a rendang like curry or and like hot sauce and like ikan bilis, like little fried fish and peanuts. That would be an amazing meal. Or I could also easily eat like a big bowl of bolognese or steak or I don't know, like anything. I'll take anything, man. Or maybe I just won't eat at all. Maybe if I'm having a last meal, I don't deserve it.
This one's kind of a funny one on your end. What would you consider your guilty pleasure?
Mm-hmm. Let's see the go-to pleasure. Whoa, that's a hard one because you know playing shows is kind of like my go-to pleasure because it hurts,
Yeah.
and I, I guess it's like it's like kind of ritual. It's like a ritual for me where I get to like have an excuse to like to hurt myself and throw my body around and inflict pain, which is in a way like pleasurable, I suppose. And so, that's like part of what Promiseland is. It is a ritual. Um, and I always go back to it. So that is like definitely, yeah. I suppose that's a pleasure. But then I also like the opposite, man. I really loved having a massage the other day and having my like neck cracked and having acupuncture. It's like, again, it's like finding the balance.
Yes, I'm about to say, I was like, sometimes whenever you have a very expensive spa day, you're like, that was a guilty pleasure, but that was needed.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, it's so needed. Oh man, going to the spa, like going to the sauna, a steam
Yeah.
room, and that shit is like it's so good and so needed. Like yeah, I love that. That's definitely a go-to pleasure. I
So
don't know. New
since
York City is like filled with go-to pleasures all over the
yes,
place.
yeah, I want to say, before living in New York, where else did you live?
Melbourne, Australia. So
Okay.
I literally just came all the way. I never been to New York either when I moved here. Just
So
like
yeah,
so
you're taking the
funny.
whim on this one.
Yeah, I came with one suitcase and now I'm a fucking hoarder, collector. Now I have like acquired many a collectibles, and
Okay.
that from one suitcase is crazy to me. But I was the same in Australia, right? I collected so much junk that's just fucking stored in garages all over the country.
I would consider that a random fact about yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, now since we mentioned 3D Flower with My Shadow, you have some really cool lyrics in this one, and you also put in how my shadow is me. But also in this track, did you have like a different idea about how this song was going to sound, or was this the idea?
Hmm. My Shadow is one of the early songs that like I used to have like I would play in Australia. I like writing like I like lyrics and drums. That's like a very like cool like starting point for me a lot of the times. Like I love like having a drum structure and then having like going back to the ritualistic feel of lyrics being like repeated over and over. And so I have nowhere to be, I have nothing to say is very like the it doesn't fit into like sort of the it fits in doesn't fit into the melody of the keys so much as more of like a chant and like a kind of like rhythmic kind of expression. And so um yeah uh, yeah, I don't know. That one was that one, and it's a little more dubby. That one has like a little like dub kind of like uh reggae like stab to it.
True.
But
To me, it has a very like journey feel where this one is like part of the trip. And like and especially if you smoke weed on this one, I feel like this is the one that you space out on. Like you're like,
yeah,
I'm in the zone.
yeah, because it's not it's repetitive. I mean it's like a repetitive chant, like it's you know like it, and that's what it is, and it has this like real like video gamey kind of like Bowser's Castle kind of like just real kind
Yeah.
of deep dark like dubby feel to it. Yeah, it's
And to bring up bad days, I know that we kind of mentioned this a little bit, but what inspired like the lyrics and like the sound? Like, what was the process on recording that? Because it has a very different direction than like whenever you put out the music video, it was a really big standout, you know?
yeah. Bad Days is funny because that one happened so. That was one of the like songs that like was so fast. I remember like I worked on it with my friend Bojida who lives here in New York, and I like went over to his house one day and he'd been like working on this like he kind of like was working on the, like the bass of the song, and I remember just like I don't even think I had lyrics even written for that, and I just it just like kind of came to me, and I remember sitting in his um apartment, and it was like don't give up, let go, and I just kind of like it was just like it just came to me, and we just recorded it. I think like the original, and like I was saying, like the bridge at the end was the original choruses, and
Right.
we just had like recorded. I think I did like two takes, and that was it. We put it down, and I was like, and then we were like, oh, I think we have a song, and then I shared it with Jules, and then
Yeah.
Jules wrote the melody for the chorus, and actually plays the keyboard line in there.
Okay.
It's like, let's move that now. Just this is the good melody for the chorus, and then I think I went off like kind of the original like verses and kind of just like adapted them and kind of changed the lyrics around a little bit. But it's funny that song was just like happened like it was one of those easy ones. So it was like worked on the least.
Right. Okay.
worked
And
on
to
they
mention,
worked on the most in a way. Like I mean, they've all have a lot of like they've all been worked on a lot, but that one
yeah.
was like one of those great afternoons where you flow with a friend and you kind of just like
Yeah.
you just get it.
Organically, yeah, just as in the flow. And like and to mention, right, like you got to work with Julian Casablancas on this record. Did you kind of have like any ideas that you were like shooting for, or was it like kind of like we like have these like you had these demos and you were trying to like change these demos into like what we have on the album, right?
Yeah, like it's funny because I signed to Cult based off like we have like we have an amazing manager, Ben Goldstein, that we both have, and
Okay.
I played a show at the Bowery Ballroom in 2017 that I wasn't even supposed to play at. And my friends added me on because I was like shooting some video with them, and
Okay.
singing off the balcony and singing "Take Down the House." And Ben was not my manager at the time, but he like took a little video, sent it to Jules, and then I think I met like Jules was like, "Oh, I want to meet this guy." We met like a week later in at KGB bar in the East Village, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to sign you. Like, let's do a record on Cult." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is fucking awesome." Yeah. And then it was like, should we listen to some of the music? It was like he wanted to do something before really hearing it. And then we in the bar we listened to a couple of tracks, and he was like, "Fuck yeah, like let's do this." And I sent him I sent him folders of demos, and then we kind of just like he sort of picked up he just sort of like went through and was like, "This is cool, this is cool, this is cool." This I have some ideas to help you with, and kind of just like helped like get them to where they are now. And so
Right. Okay.
like definitely like like yeah, it was like a fair bit of back and forth, and then we worked on a lot of music that didn't make it to the record as well, and so hopefully we'll put it out later on. But like yeah, that's kind of like yeah, how it happened.
And with like performing recently, like did you have like a favorite place that you went to and that you played at?
Asia was definitely like amazing. Actually, I don't know. I did this amazing. I did a really fun show in Bologna, Italy, which was like after the Voids had played, and it was like
Okay.
we did a little after party. I really like those ones because they're just so random and like crazy and fun and weird. Asia was like really incredible. Like, fuck, like it's so hard to compare. Like Hong Kong was awesome. Singapore, like Tokyo, I did a little like club show in Tokyo that was like a really tiny room called the Diamond Room. The Diamond Room, yeah. And
Sounds
everyone
fun.
was like, smoking cigarettes and like jumping around. It was like cool. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it's like they're all really fun. And that yeah, this year like all of them are definitely highlight.
Now you've seen
Or
kind of
still, sorry, how can I not? I forget. Actually forget how many shows that I did this year. But
I know it's a lot.
Forest Hills was amazing because it's like an iconic venue, you know, in Queens. Um, and then there's also Market Hotel, which is in Brooklyn here,
Right.
which I got to do two shows at in the last couple of months, which were like also fucking amazing, you know, cool, fun venues. So yeah, it's been fun.
Now, like you've seen like the changes in New York from kind of like the COVID change to now. What would you think about like the music scene and like any acts bands that you've seen that like that you were like, yeah, I'd go back and check out.
Yeah, New York's a tough one because it feels like, you know, where I'm from in Melbourne or Australia, it's like everybody plays in 7 different bands, and so you feel like there's a real community.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's the other side of the world, and so it's a lot harder to tour and travel, and so you end up like kind of building. The community just feels a lot warmer and whatever. But having said that, New York, I feel has some really cool fucking music coming at the moment, and I don't know. There's like I played with this band, Fuckers at Market Hotel. They're like one of my like I fucking love them to bits. They're like really fucking amazing, and they're more like that's like the cool thing about New York as opposed to like Melbourne a little bit more here. It's like you can be different styles of music, but it's if you like vibe with people, you like you know, Fuckers is like very like uh, it's different. It's electronic still, but it's like different. But we like had such a fun show together, and they're like one of my favorite New York bands. My other favorite band here in New York is the band called Narcissists, and they're awesome punk band. And we're actually doing a split 10-inch for the start of next year with some like tracks that didn't make it to Sad But Happy that I've been working on. There's another cool band, Flaccid. There's you know there's like yeah there's cool shit happening. Oh, Comatose is another fucking sick band with this kid Johnny, um, who's like around the East Village scene. Fucking amazing. Yeah, there's Pyrex. Pyrex is a cool fucking punk band. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like there's cool shit. It's just so New York's like there's so much happening all the time that like it's like overstimulating, and so like yeah, I don't know, but there's like so many cool like DJs throwing like crazy cool like parties, and that's like why I kind of like thrived here in New York and stayed because the Promiseland show I don't have to play in a regular venue. It's like I get like I was getting booked in the early days to play like crazy weird pub shows at fucking 3 a.m. where they were like, oh, can you come and do a couple of songs for our party at like I don't know. I kind of like early days like promoters would book me because they know like
Promoters
be
indeed.
like kind of crazy, but the people that ran the venues didn't know, and I was like, you know, they know right that it's gonna be great, that shit's gonna fucking go down, Yeah, it's totally fine. And then like the next thing, like I played New Year's at this place, Sanitarium,
Okay.
and me and my friend, like we were hanging off the chandeliers, and the chandeliers come down, erupting, the walls going, and the guys in the venue are like, "The fuck is going on? This has to fucking stop!" But they don't know what to do because it's like enough of us, like like dancing and partying that they can't really do anything. And same at Public Hotel here in New York. I did a fucking
Yeah.
fucking rafters, and the fucking owner there, whoever the fuck he is, I don't know, I don't care. But
Yeah, he's wild. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, but and maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was the manager. I don't know, but someone was like, "This guy's gonna kill himself. He's gotta stop." And then my friend Mitch is at the bar trying to get tequila to bring it over to like so we could all drink from the bottle, but it was jalapeno tequila. So we all got it in our eyes, and everybody that was at the front row that were all drinking from the bottle, all our eyes started burning, and I couldn't see for like 3 hours. I was like, and I respect. I mean, respect to the venues. Like it's like not, I'm not trying to like do. I'm just like the show's intense, and so it's like I just, in the early days it was like, yeah, I think promoters were like, yeah, fuck, let's get him because he's gonna just like be fuck shit up. And I'm like, yeah, but and reasonably fuck shit up. But now it's like, it's evolved now, like more like now that like in New York I play with the band as well, and so it's like it may look intense, but it's not always intense. Like it's like, yeah, it's just a good time. Yeah. But I've definitely played a few shows where they've like tried to pull fucking cables, that they've tried to like pull the decks out. Like, yo, man, this is not good, bro. This is
I can say for the New York open mic scene, if you're too crazy and loud, you'll get the shit pulled from you, or someone just grabs the mic and is like, "Okay, it's the next guy. Like we're getting him off here." And that's kind of one thing. Like, what do you think about going out to like random shows and that that you don't even know who's playing? Do you still kind of do that stuff?
I don't know.
As I say, those are early days, huh?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last gig I did. Like this year I played so many shows that it's like very hard. Like I just haven't had a chance to get out and see many other shows because I'm also resting and trying to save like my fucking ear. Like I've had tinnitus now for like 5 or 6 years, and so like sometimes when I'm like not doing shows, I'm like the last thing I want to do is go to a show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But that's why I love like choosing cool and fun bands to play with.
Right.
I get to like be there and watch their show and party together and like have a good night and do our performances and stuff like that. And then and then the rest of the time I don't know, like
to bring
I go see. I have a lot of DJ friends here, so I like going out to like see DJs play and like go and like dance and stuff, and yeah.
To bring up shows and stuff that you've been doing and general you just did something and on Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whenever you were playing, what was your set list? What all did you do?
That one, the Halloween show at Murmur Theater in Brooklyn, was just me, and I play with an amazing guitarist, my friend Amir, from a band called The Markers. And so sometimes we'll get together and he'll join me for a Promiseland show. So it was just the two of us. Set list wise, I can't even remember. I think it was the same set list. I've kept the same set list that I've been doing. I did for most of the year for like the Strokes tour.
Okay.
Which is a couple of songs from the other project I do, Mas Brillante, which were originally Promiseland songs, but then I put them under the name Mas Brillante, which is the Spanish for Bright Dungeon. So I always start the set off with a song called Chess Disco, which Jai and I made many years ago here in New York City. Then I go into something like Bingo, which is unreleased, but it's like a heavy banger, which I'm going to release on the split with Osmosis in February.
Okay.
Then I'll go into like personal reflector. Then I'll like mellow the set into like I have a song called I Am Evil, which hasn't been released, but it's like a more ballad style song that I go into like bad days, and then somewhere in there 3D flower, and then yeah, I usually save Take Down the House till the end. I have a remixed version of Take Down the House from like Lord Fascinator that I play sometimes too, because I get really bored of playing it sometimes. Like it's like, playing the same songs.
I'm sure you've heard. It might be old to you, but new to the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It,
Yeah, you have to. I remember that, and like, yeah, the same in Asia is like people hearing it for the first time, so it's cool. And like, so many people like that was like the first release with Cult, and
right.
so many new people listened to that song when it got onto Grand Theft Auto, and actually like, yeah, people like I see the comments, people like, oh, this is the best song in Grand Theft Auto, and I'm like, wow, that's fucking awesome, because it is a good song to like drive around and like cause havoc.
Yes, I like to say it really helps the vibe.
Yeah.
And to get back to your music, you have Liquid Language. That's more of like a ethereal kind of synthy kind of vibe too in the mix. What inspired that?
Yeah, Liquid Language was two different songs that Jules joined together.
Right.
Yeah, it was two different songs with two different singers, and I had one song was featuring my friend Maladi, and the other song was features my friend Samantha Rabani.
Okay.
Also, just put out an amazing record, amazing artist. That used to have was from that band Friends back in the day. And there was two different songs, and Jules said those two songs are amazing. Let's join them together. And so, in a session with Sean Everett in LA, we kind of went that bit of that verse, that bit of that verse. Let's use this chorus, and by joining them together, it made this like kind of like weird like a narrative of a song. Like, it's the most like narrative driven song. It's so like kind of like spacey and kind of like, I don't know, it feels like a I don't know, like a sci-fi film or something. I don't know. There's a lot going on, but that song. I used to do a lot of sessions here at Red Bull Studios in New York with Jai Gonzalez, and the one half of the song with Samantha Rabani, that was just like that was just us jamming at Red Bull, and just like we're Jai and I are very like synth heavy guys, like we're synth guys, so we're like we're really into like synth jamming and setting up and like running beats and just kind of like finding like melodies and counter melodies, and like and like I'll find a line and then he'll counter melody that, and then I don't know, that's that's a crazy ass song, man. That one, so much going on. There's like so much cut and pasting
right,
arrangement, and like finding the mix, matching the tempos was also like quite difficult too, because one song was a completely different tempo, so speeding one up to match the other and getting them together was like pretty crazy, but we got there.
And to mention the process on Constellation.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of what kind of way did you start recording it?
I recorded that on, that's one that I did on tour, I think in 2018. Yeah, it would have been 2018 because it was before the pandemic happened, and I like writing on tour. Like if I'm in the hotel room by myself, and I have my little like keyboard, and that one just happened in the hotel room, and I wrote two songs on that tour. One which is Consultation, and the other one, Can You See, which is like I'm going to put out in February, which I actually just did an Instagram post today working on it, which is like the other song that I wrote on that tour. But those two songs are, Consultation is like, I don't know, just like one of those, like I just just being by myself and just jamming it and just like writing it out. And I remember getting back to New York City, and I just like had this vision that it wasn't like a full like verse, chorus sort of thing. I just wanted to kind of like have a sort of versey kind of thing, and then just go into like a saxophone solo, and so then it just goes into like a really beautiful like saxophone part, which my friend Dan Schofield recorded, and we recorded it. There's a venue here called Baby's Alright.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember I was like, let's just record in the office at Baby's Alright because I used to work there, and let's just, I just had the microphone. We set it up like one brunch shift or something, like whatever. We just went in and like he just played saxophone for ages, and then just that became the song. But yeah, it's definitely like my favorite song. I'm working on a video for it at the moment.
Now, you about to say you use sax in like a few songs. Yeah.
Saxophone saxophone on that, and in Eternal Return of the Same.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so, did you also kind of go to Babies for that one too?
Yeah, I did those at the same time.
Nice, yeah. Nice. Yeah. What would you say? What would you say was the most difficult song like to record?
Remember my own songs. Liquid Language was the most difficult to arrange. Sonically it was really hard to put together because it was two different songs, and they were like recorded in completely different, like one was like a home style recording that then my friend Paul had worked on, and we got it to like a really cool place, and then the other with a completely different vocalist featured, and then the other version with Jai at Red Bull Studios, completely different production with another vocalist, and then then Julian and Sean Everett are trying to join it together.
Yeah,
and I like got it there, but sonically it wasn't totally like there, and then they sent it back to Australia to Paul Harmon, who like fucking masterfully like got it sitting together to actually sound like a, he got it to the point where it was like, okay, this is like working, but fuck, it was like difficult. I remember Sean Everett being in the studio when we were trying to join the two songs together, and he said, this sounds like a serial killer is like writing his memoirs in fucking blood. This is crazy, and I remember being like, yeah, this is hard. As like someone who's like, as like people that are good on computer and production, like knowing the difficulties of like moving stuff around in a timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to Jules, who's like he's very like good with like his ear and like listening and kind of like understanding how to like shape things with words and language and vibe and feeling, but actually them doing it technically is a nightmare. So sometimes it is, and that song for sure was like one of the hardest songs to put together. But it's funny because I hear the kind of like I hear things of I hear the imperfections of the song, but that that's kind of the beauty of it, because I think once you put it out, like it's like filmmakers and stuff are never like fully happy with their films or the visuals. It's like, oh, you could always, I just Jules and I just did the latest like Voids music video.
That's right.
Which is the Flexicist featuring double feature with Prophecy of the Dragon, and we've been working on that since February.
Okay. It's amazing. It looks insane in a great way.
Yeah, thanks. I built, like, me and my friend Nick built all these like models, like because it's all like model sets for Prophecy of the Dragon. We built all the sets here in my house. We built the little cars. So what?
Even that pool stuff, the water shit.
Which stuff? I don't even know. No, like the Prophecy of the Dragon, like the.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Pool where they're inside the swimming pool. Yeah.
Yes.
Where they're in the that we fucking that's like a we did that in Amir's backyard, but like the
That's crazy.
actual like hotel I built. Let me just grab it for you so you can see it.
Yeah.
Like when Julian comes out of the in the desert, like we built the desert, and then when he comes out of the hotel, in the desert, this is like the hotel I built. So that's like so
Oh
like
wow.
so Jules comes out of this little fucking part here, and then
Yeah, that's really funny.
and then like that's when like the battlefield happens, and there's like tanks and fucking dude. But but again, it's like and then also working with like Mac DeMarco as the devil was like amazing and doing all his like prosthetics and stuff. But like
Yeah.
it got to the end where you could keep working on it, but like it was so good that we had a deadline because we put it out, and it is what it is what it is, and there's like imperfections in that, and in the music, and there's like always like you could always keep working on things, but then that's the thing. It's like that it's it's good to like release it into the world because then it is like kind of perfect in its way and it's finished.
Yeah, I'd say the double feature was a really great idea, and I think it flowed well together, especially for like the vibe. Whenever you were working on that, like what kind of you don't have to say everything, like what kind of editing stuff were you going through? Were you having to like digital map and like edit and put in, or like do a lot of layers?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I work with like a couple of really amazing animators for the animation stuff of like fitting in the guys on the green screen. I show a lot of the guys on green screen, and then
Yeah,
it's also multi-formatted, so I shoot a lot of 16 millimeter, high
great.
res, VHS, digital, like kind of all the formats. So it's like a mash of everything. I'm like a Premiere and DaVinci guy, sort of I grade in DaVinci, edit in Premiere. Um, and then yeah, like two amazing animators. This kid Lucas who did all the 3D dragon stuff and tanks, and then a guy called Cooper Vatron, who's like an LA guy that did all the most amazing like comping of the guys into like Jeff in the forest walking over the
Yeah.
log. Like there's a lot going on. It's like we're actually like I'm gonna edit like a bit behind the scenes videos so people actually get to like watch the like making and the time lapses of building and shooting all the stuff. Um, so like stay tuned for that because I feel like that'll kind of show a lot more of like the process, which people want to see, I think.
Now, one thing before we go, what was the story behind the Take Down the House video?
Uh Take Down the House video. Oh man, I shot it so long ago with like one of my like best friends, Ishmael Shalis, who's an amazing like director and cinematographer. And I think we wanted to just do something physical that represented the live show because the live show is so like ritualistic and crazy and intense. And so he wanted to like push me to the limits, and like we were like, oh, we'll go to New Mexico and we'll put you on
Okay.
a stage, and I'm gonna make
Yeah.
run across the desert and fucking like I think we were just like we were just like, let's just fucking go out and just shoot. Let's just start shooting shit. And so that there's like a mobs. There's like kind of a mosh pit scene in there, getting pushed around, and like
Yeah.
it's a very physical video, and everything is so I don't know, like maybe because like my shows are physical, so like every director, like same with Bad Days, like the Pietro made me like fucking like he was making me run around LA so fast at like in the morning, running down the streets. Like, oh, you fucking me up, man. Like my like pulled all the muscles in my legs.
Yeah.
Then he was making me hang upside down because I hang upside down in my shows a lot. So he's like, yeah,
Right.
let's make you hang upside down and sing. And so I'm on set, fucking upside down trying to sing songs. So like all the videos are like very physical. So, but
Yeah,
every
it paid
director
off.
makes me want to do it. But that's because I can do it. Like I can do the physical stuff and I like it. So I'll push my body. I'll let directors push me to the limits. It's fun. It's very fun.
Now, anybody you want to shout out before we close it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the album wouldn't have happened without like some key figures, like obviously like Jules for like fucking signing me to his label and letting me be like a crazy fucking artist. But like, there's like so many people that put so much like blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes, and that's like my manager Ben Goldstein and the producers like Paul Harmon, um, uh, Ben Bapty, who did so many like mixing notes and mastering notes. You know, Sean Everett for the sessions we did in LA, Jai Gonzalez was like collaborating, and then like all of the amazing people that like feature on the record, like yeah, Daniela Valdez, who's the singer of Mars Mod Brillante. Jules got her to do like singing on. She's her voices on like Bad Days in the chorus, and then like yeah, there's like so many people. Bojidar, that like amazing collaborator also, and yeah, I don't know. There's probably people that I'm missing out on shouting out, but it's okay. I'll give them a hug when I see them there.
And I really appreciate you taking the time to join Vibe Osmosis. It's been fun. Hopefully the weekend's still good too.
Yeah, I think so. What are you doing this weekend?
Oh, well.
What do you do? Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
I know. I have to say, what I'm going to be doing is drinking and smoking and probably watching like a lot of movies. I'm not like going to be watching sports and stuff. Like, it's my time to just binge watch. I was like, I was really into like TV shows like HBO and stuff, but I've been taking a dive on this like streaming movie platform that just has everything. So I'm like, oh, they have some good hits.
All right, so where are you based?
Now I'm based in Ohio. I've been around New York, and basically I'm moving back West Coast to Seattle. That's where I was living.
Nice. So you have the Chaos Pad there.
You have to say it gets the job done. It's the DJ master.
I use the Chaos Pad live. I run it through the Opti track.
Oh, nice.
And then I
love the effects.
Yeah, I've been running the Chaos Pad through like a rotary like guitar pedal.
Oh yeah.
And it's like really cool fucking like fuzzy rotary like kind of sound. But yeah, anyway, I saw it, so you're right there. So no, I have to say the job done. It's good for like vocal pitching too, man. It's so fun.
Okay.
Fun to fucking run vocals through it. But yeah. Cool. Thanks,
well,
man.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I'll keep you posted on everything.
Fuck yeah, dog, dude. It was so nice chatting to you.
For real, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for everything, and thanks for the squad, and yeah, thanks for coming to the table with cool questions and all the rest.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Yeah, you too, man. Bye.